Eren Yeager, going from the perfect protagonist at the start of season 1 to then at the end of season 4 being the antagonist and being the kind of final villain. He went from being the hero that was going to save the world to ultimately being the villain that will crush the world and destroy the world. But what is good, y'all? It is Anime K here, and we are back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about, is the rumbling really okay? So first off, and before we get into the video, let's explain what the rumbling actually is. So the rumbling is a large scale attack involving all the titans inside the walls, marching across the earth, destroying everything and everyone in their way, and obviously being commanded by Eren, who got the power from the founding titan from Ymir Fritz. So I'll ask the question again, is the rumbling okay? So first off, before we answer that question, we have to really look at Eren's thinking and why he's doing what he's doing. So first I want to take a look at Marley. At first we think they are basically the villains that are attacking the walls, but obviously we find out the truth after that really, and the reason why they are attacking Paradise Island are because of what they have been told about how they are evil, and the subjects of Ymir are evil as well. But when we take a look at what happened during these attacks, Eren's mom died and he had to basically leave the home that he'd grown up in and lived in all his life. So that was the first kind of event for Eren that really shaped the Eren that we see today, because he'd been through so much in such a short period. Lost his mum, had to move to a new home, then as he got older had to decide whether he was going to become a soldier and fight or was just going to stay on the sidelines. As we know, he made a decision as a kid that he was going to get revenge on the Titans, and that was Eren's first goal, was to kill all the Titans. But then when he found out there were also humans, and that there was a whole nother island of humans that were sending these Titans over and sending these humans that could turn into Titans just like Eren, and then found out it was the very people that he'd been training with, you know, Reiner, Annie and Bertaford as well, finding out that they were also Titans and also they were responsible for killing his mum. You know, it's really messed up, and Eren went through a lot in such a short period of a time as well. And obviously when Eren first left the walls, him and Armin used to speak all the time of there being this perfect world, or not perfect world, but being water, you know, being seas, being more people that they could meet, you know, being that there's a land and there's a whole world outside of the walls. But when they eventually leave the walls, it's not what Eren or Armin really expected. And while Armin was kind of satisfied seeing the sea, Eren, you could see, was really dissatisfied and was really sad. You could see in his eyes that the world just wasn't what he expected, and he'd still have to be fighting more people, and that even though that he'd finally escaped the walls, he kind of really hadn't escaped at the same time, and he was still felt trapped inside the walls of Paradise. There's so many other events as well. Obviously, like I said, you've got his mum that died, but you've got Hans as well, the soldier that he had grew up with since he was a kid. You've got obviously when he kissed Historia's hand and found out the whole truth about Paradise Island and about how the walls came to fruition. And of course, being attacked by these people so much, right? I think Eren got to a point personally, this is what I'm thinking anyway, he got to a point where he thought the only way he could really protect the people he loves before he eventually dies, because if you do know, Eren will die eventually, you know, that's not a spoiler, you know, anyone that inherits a Titan will eventually die, and Eren doesn't have a lot of time left to live. And I feel like that's why for him the only conclusion he could come to was just wiping out the rest of the earth, just to save everyone that he loves and save the remaining people that he holds dear to his heart as well. But for my personal opinion, what I will say about the rumbling is, obviously I would say it is wrong just on my world and what I live in. I feel like it's wrong. I feel like, look, there's so much discrimination in the world, but I would never think I'd want to wipe every single one of my enemies, or any single person that is discriminated against me. I'd never want to just wipe them out, because I feel like that doesn't really help the problem. You're just kind of getting rid of it, but you know, stuff like that can always come back and always manifest again and again. That's my thinking, but what you have to remember is Eren's thinking, like I've just said, he's on limited time, everyone that he knows could die, and he has this one thing, this one power where he could just wipe out the whole problem. And I think everything that Eren has seen up to this point, that's just the most logical thing in his head, is just to wipe everyone out. And that's how I'll conclude the video. I'll conclude it by saying I think, even though I wouldn't personally agree with the plan, I feel like being put in Eren's position, or being put in Eren's kind of predicament, a lot of us would probably maybe do the same to protect the people we love as well. But look, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching.